And as we always do, including me, if you'll pull your microphones forward to speak loudly so the folks online as well as in the room can hear. And we have quite a room full today, too. So let's start first with the approval of the minutes for the February 8th meeting. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Is there any objection to approving today's agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. And we got a whole room full of visitors here today. I don't think any of them had signed up for public comment, though. We might have been here for a while if that was the case, but we're certainly excited to have you. We're going to do some introductions for them. Okay. Well, why don't we do that right now? So is it Lisa Manning? You're our spokesperson and the Teacher of the Year? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and welcome.
Thank
Please.
you. All right, good afternoon. I am Lisa Manning, and I teach 5th grade at Doby's Mill Elementary School. I was honored to be named the Kershaw County School District Teacher of the Year for this school year. First, I want to express my appreciation for allowing the Kershaw County Teacher Leadership Council to attend today's meeting. We would also like to provide a sincere thank you for your dedication and commitment to public education. For over 20 years, Kershaw County Leadership Council has strived to give teachers a voice addressing educational issues at a local, state, and national level. Our desire to achieve this goal has transpired to positive and effective dialogue with vital leaders. Lastly, Kershaw County Leadership Council empowers our teacher leaders by providing and developing leadership opportunities, focusing on our core values through our district mission and vision. Today in attendance, we have 12 Kershaw County Teacher Leadership Council members. We are excited. We are excited to see the interest that education is receiving again this year, but we will continue to lead and advocate not only for the teachers in Kershaw County, but all in the teaching profession. Because we have to leave to attend a meeting at the State House, we will be stepping away early, but again, we appreciate your support and dedication to public education. We look forward to continuing to build a positive relationship with you as we further our mutual goal of supporting teacher leaders and educating all students of South Carolina. Thank you.
And thank you all for coming today. We appreciate you coming by to visit with us on your way over to the State House. Let's see. News media, we only had one sign up. Were any other members of the media here? Seeing none, we will proceed on to first my report. And we have a couple of new board members who are in the audience today. Their paperwork and all hadn't caught up with them yet, but we wanted to go ahead and introduce them. And next month, they'll be sitting up here with us. First, we have Dr. David O'Shields. Dr. O'Shields, if you'd stand, please, sir. Dr. O'Shields is the superintendent in Lawrence 56, and he's a Clemson PhD, South Carolina, University of South Carolina, bachelor's and master's, so he's got it all covered there. He's had a distinguished career in education. He's won some impressive awards, including the Milliken Foundation National Educator of the Year in 2004. He's been a South Carolina ambassador, charter member of the Department of Education Leadership Fellows. So he's very involved, and we're excited to have him be joining us next month. We also have with us today Ms. Joyce Kreminger. Welcome. And she will be representing the 6th Circuit, and she has attended public school in Lancaster County, graduated from Indian Land High School, is a graduate of the University of South Carolina with her bachelor's and her master's, and also education leadership from Winthrop. And she retired in 2019 from Lancaster County School District after being in education for 42 years. Congratulations for that. She taught English in high school and junior high, served as an assistant principal, and entered her career as principal at South Middle School. So we're excited to have you join us as well, and we look forward to having you both sitting up here with us next month. Now, the bittersweet part of this is that when new people come on, that means somebody's leaving. And so today, in her final meeting, Dr. Downs, we want to thank you for your service on the board. It's been a pleasure and honor working with you over these past few years. And I know you'll be doing other things. You're not just going to head to the House. So, but thank you for your service on the State Board of Education. And then I wanted to report a couple of things that I did in the last month representing the board. On February the 15th, I was part of a panel discussion with the Education Leaders Experience. That's a year-long program the educators participate in. It's a leadership development brought by Colonial Life and the Center for Education Partnerships at the University of South Carolina. We had a great panel discussion with them. On February the 24th, I was back up here over at ETV. They did a television and radio broadcast on school safety, and so I was part of a panel discussion on that very important topic. So I was pleased to represent the board at both of those functions. Madam Superintendent. I'm sorry?
No, she was here.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's great to have a big crowd today.
It is.
All the members, Dr. Downs, thank you. We're going to miss you so much. Appreciate your service and all of you, and welcome to our new members. I have a few nice things to share with you today. First of all, in the last month, we announced a new partnership with South Carolina Technical College System. We have decided to share our ESSER funds with the Technical College System in the amount of $11.5 million over a 3-year period. This will help expand our CTE, Career Technology programs, our adult education programs, and provide scholarships to high-demand technical college across the state. So we already have a wonderful partnership. Dr. Tim Hardy is seen there in the photo. He does a wonderful job, and we're working with six of the technical colleges across South Carolina. Our Education Flexibility Guide. Congratulations to Dr. Stephanie DeStasio and her team for building a beautiful 23-page guide that provides a pathway for district and school leaders to learn all of the different ways that they might personalize learning in their schools and in their school districts. What we found is that there are a lot of waivers, a lot of ideas, creative flexibility that schools and districts can use, and often they don't know about it. So not only has our office and our department here printed this guide, but we are holding webinars with district employees across the state to learn about this. So I think you've already held one of those, and it went really, really well, and the comments were, oh, I didn't know I could do that. So thank you for your work, and we look forward as you hold additional seminars, and we talked about even doing this for some of our school board members, so that might be a good idea for them to learn about this as well. We also have a partnership with Children's Trust. All school districts are eligible to send representatives to a nationally established training on adverse childhood experiences. We call that acronym ACEs. Train the Trainer model will allow our educators to recognize the impacts of the pandemic and how to support the mental health of our students and our teachers. So we're very, very excited about working with this wonderful organization. And now, some of our very special guests, I am so excited to present them. Before I do that, though, I do want to recognize 3 district superintendents. Dr. O'Shields has already been recognized, but we have 3 other superintendents with us today. My good friend from Fort Mill, Dr. Chuck Epps, and Dr. Tommy Steve, our newest, and Dr. Shane Robbins from Kershaw. We're so glad to have you today. And a new superintendent who's just begun his leadership in Rock Hill, Dr. Tommy Schulze. Tommy, stand up and thank you. We're so glad, and they are here to share in the celebration of what I'm about to talk about, our 2022 Schools to Watch. This program has been in effect for a number of years. We recognize outstanding leadership, outstanding middle schools. And when I worked previously at the South Carolina Association for School Administrators, I had the honor of going around and helping announce these awards across the state, and also our Principal Leadership Awards. And I met a young man who was up in Indian Land at the time, I believe at Indian Land Middle School, and was our South Carolina Middle School Principal of the Year. And he has done wonderful things and continues to move up the ladder. I have a feeling he's probably going to be a superintendent in South Carolina. He says no. Come on, David. Sorry. I was trying to help you out, guys. But a wonderful educator, Dr. David McDonald. David, if you'll come up, David serves as the Assistant Superintendent of School Leadership and Director of Middle Schools in Greenville County. I'm going to ask David just to tell you a little more detail about the Schools to Watch program.
Thank you, Superintendent Spearman. No plans to be a superintendent. Let me say that publicly. Maybe that'll change, never know. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here today. It's a delight to be able to share these schools with you and the hard work that they have done, not just this year, but for many, many years, to become part of this Schools to Watch group. There are 29 schools in South Carolina that have earned this designation. Today, you're going to recognize one that has been here since the beginning. They were the very first school to watch in South Carolina, and we're very proud of them. These schools have made a commitment to be academically excellent, developmentally responsive, socially equitable, and to have great organizational structures in place to support student learning. They are welcoming, they are inviting, they love their kids, they take care of their staff, and they create environments where kids can and they do learn. Each of these schools are so unique and they are so similar, all in the same package. We get the opportunity as a team of volunteers. I volunteer to do this. I get to go out and go with folks to visit these schools, to see the great things they're doing, and then recognize them. And they become part of a group across the country. Right now, there are 19 states that participate in Schools to Watch, and there are just over 500 schools that have earned this designation. So it's a big deal when 29 of those are right here in South Carolina. And so the 7 schools that we recognize today, 4 of them have been at this for a while. Lugoff-Elgin is our longest school to watch. Lugoff-Elgin has been doing this for 15 years. And so this isn't just an award where they get a banner and a plaque, and I think they would all tell you they have to constantly work at this. They're setting goals. They're constantly revisiting and revising those goals. They're constantly looking at ways that they can become better. And so every 3 years, we go back and we visit these schools again. And our hope is that they're going to continue to be a school to watch for a long, long time, and that they won't ever fall on the list of schools not to watch anymore. Because we want them to be highly successful. Ms. Kriminger and I had the opportunity of working together in Lancaster County, where we were both Schools to Watch principals. And it is truly an honor to be able to share these schools with you. And thank you, Molly, for inviting us to be a part today.
Thank you so much. I'm going to, Mr. Chair, if you will, since our Kershaw member is not here today, would you mind going over to the side? And I'm going to ask you to welcome. I'm going to organize this a little bit differently so that you won't have to make so many trips up. But these are schools to watch who are in redesignation. I'm going to start with Lugoff-Elgin Middle School from Kershaw County, Principal Jean Cameron. Jean, would you go over and stand with Mr. Walker? Yes. And Derek, our photographer, if you'll do the photo over there, I'd appreciate it, and just get set. Congratulations. And Shane, why don't you come up as superintendent and stand with your principal? There we go. Congratulations to you all. So, Derek, do you want them to walk out? After congratulations, why don't y'all walk out and you'll get your picture made in that beautiful front of that beautiful South Carolina education picture. So if you stay there just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do the next. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and do your other Kershaw, Camden Middle School, Principal Byron Johnson. Byron. Good grief, y'all got your own cheerleader team from Kershaw today. How about that? All right, we got one more from Kershaw. This is both of these schools have been in this designation for a number of years, and we're adding another, so congratulations. Leslie M. Stover Middle School, Principal Chantel Baker Zimmer. Great. So I think that's it for Kershaw. Got them all. So thank you all very, very much. We'll organize the picture in just a minute, all right? So if you all want to step to the back, and let's now go up to Miss Christie, Dr. Woodall's representatives. And we have two schools for you, Dr. Woodall, who are redesignation. Dutchman Creek Middle School from Rock Hill, Principal Clayton Moten. Did I get that last name? Clayton, congratulations. And also from Fort Mill, Chuck Epps District, Keith Griffin. Congratulations, Keith. Springfield Middle School. Springfield Middle. And I had a chance to sit down just for a moment with these principals before we came down. And again, I'll say in public what I said to them privately. We are in awe of what our principals have done because you are the caretakers of your school, your community, your teachers through the pandemic. And often the caretakers have the most burden on them. So thank you for what you all have done. You set the tone for the entire school. So congratulations to you. Congratulations. All right, we have just a couple more. Dr. Collier. Dr. Collier from Greenville, you have two schools that are added to the list. And one of my favorite people in the whole world, the school is named after the former superintendent there, Dr. Penny Fisher. Penny Fisher Middle School from Greenville, Principal Jeremy Smith. So Jeremy, come on up. Congratulations. What a great school. Love it. A great namesake that you have there, Dr. Fisher. And also from Greenville, Northwood Middle School Principal Treva Lee. Treva, come on up. And I'm going to ask Miss Sally Lee to come over and be able to shake his hand. Also, this is her brother-in-law. And blood goes a long way here. So congratulations, Sally, to your family. Great principal. Now, I want to be sure I covered everybody because I mixed these up a bit. I think I've got them all. Congratulations. Let's give all these wonderful leaders a great applause. And that concludes my report. I'll be back a little later if you have questions on some of the other things, and I'll step out and have pictures made with these folks. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. And now for the parliamentarians' report. And I'll bet I know what topic number one is.
No, I'm going to mix it up.
Okay.
Mixing it up today. Two things I do want to bring to your attention. Nancy Williams, our CFO, will be here to give you an update on your budget, but I did want, while I have the mic, to give you we have spent $13,106 on teacher cases thus far in this fiscal year. And y'all know, because you're in the full ELC, and those who are on the ELC know how many cases we're bringing to you, and if you read the paper, how many more breach contract cases will be coming to you. So that's a significant amount of money for the office. The other is we have issued a fiscal watch to Lancaster. And they have appealed. And under the timeline provided for in the statute, when that designation is made, you have to hear this case by the April 12th meeting. So I don't know that anyone was here. If Mr. Brennan was able to stay, he sat, I believe, is the only person who has sat through the last fiscal appeal that we've had in 2019. Sumter had a designation, and it is an appellant hearing. You will be provided the documents prior to the hearing, but it will be heard at the conclusion of the full state board meeting. So not knowing what the agenda will look like for April yet, tentatively 2:30. So it will be a long day on April 12th.
So when we adjourn the regular meeting, you'll stand by the door and make sure nobody leaves, please.
That's exactly right. And I'll have somebody in the parking lot in case you get by me. And then finally, my least favorite topic after 8 years of talking about it. We do have a couple of new members who need to file their statement of economic interest for this year prior to the 30th. I will send you an email with the directions after today's meeting, and then if you have any problems, you can call me. In my email, I'll give you my number, or it's always in my emails, and you can call me. So y'all, those folks who filed, I'm not going to call you out and praise you, and for those who haven't filed, I'm not going to not praise you. So that concludes my comments, sorry. I haven't really had lunch, so I'm a little out of it. Sorry.
All right, thank you very much. We don't have anyone signed up for public comments, so we will move right into the State Board items part of the agenda. First is Policy and Legislative Committee. We did not meet this month, so there is no report for that. The Educator Professions Committee did meet this month, and I'll recognize Ms. Lee to give her report.
Thank you, Chairman Walters. The Education Professions Committee approved 3 action items this morning. Item 1 is critical need subjects and schools for employment of retired educators, 2022-23. Item 2 is Professional Review Committee's approval of a new member. And item 3 is South Carolina Educator Preparation Guidelines, Standards, Policies, and Procedures Annual Reporting Requirements. The committee heard 3 information items earlier today. These are the annual report on individuals certified through the American Board for the Certification of Teacher Excellence, and the annual report on individuals certified through Teachers of Tomorrow, and finally, the report on individuals certified through the South Carolina Teach for America program. The Education Professions Committee placed these 3 action items on the consent agenda today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to call on Ms. Frierson with the Standards, Learning, and Accountability Committee report.
Thank you. This morning, 3 action items were presented to the Standards, Learning, and Accountability Committee. The first one was American Sign Language Standards Approval. Ms. Zalba was requesting approval to amend the world language standards to be inclusive of the revised American Sign Language standards. The second item, adoption of social studies instructional materials. Dr. David Mathis presented and reported, and seeking approval on the second phase of instructional materials recommendations for adoption. Dr. Mathis referred to the list and pointed out the 2 books requiring editing by the publisher before approval. And we're looking forward to Dr. Mathis, who will be presenting the final recommendations for approval of the social studies instructional materials in April, which include 4th grade and 5th grade social studies, 8th grade South Carolina history, U.S. government, AP U.S. government, U.S. history and constitution, and AP U.S. history. And our third item was the appointment recommendations for the 2022 instructional materials review panel, and Ms. Chris Stewart presented the list to us. And the approval of appointments for the 2022 review panel members will allow instructional materials, be it in print and digital format, to be evaluated and adopted. Recommendations submitted to our board in December of 2022. There were no information items, and these items were placed on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Frierson. Mr. Kowalski, I believe you want to make a comment before we
I
leave this committee.
did. Thank you, Chairman. First, I want to thank our committee chairman, Mrs. Frierson, for the excellent way She ran the committee and open and allowed everybody to speak, and to thank Superintendent Spearman and Dr. Mathis for their deliberate and considerate way that they've allowed the process for the textbooks to go through. And I think they're doing an excellent job of being thorough and vetting everything. And I certainly appreciate you giving us more time and everything. I just wanted to this voice why I just objected on the one very narrow point for the consent agenda for the appointees for the European history, advanced placement, and Western civilization. And because we're now at a time when that's in doubt, as we're meeting here, in the Ukraine, people are dying by the thousands for standing up for Western civilization and European history. And I think I didn't feel I adequately knew who the people were in that committee to allow me to know if there was a diversity of intellectual thought enough, because I felt last time on the approval, a lot of the books we got this time, as Dr. Mathis has found, they had objects of things that were objectionable. This, for instance, in the one we found on American government, it had in there, in the United States, all people are entitled to equal protection under the law. Political equality, of course, is not the same as economic equality. The capitalist system in the United States enables some to achieve greater financial rewards than others. However, other economic systems, socialism and communism, do seek to distribute wealth more evenly across the society. And I commend you for finding that and asking for edits. And I just would I can't vote for those appointees on the narrow committee, and that's why I objected to that without knowing what their thoughts are on issues like this. But again, I commend you for your thoroughness for the job you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And of course, that was addressed in the committee earlier, but he wanted the opportunity to share that with the board, and so we thank you for that. And now we will move on to the Educator Licensure Committee report, and Ms. Chapman.
Yes, the Educator Licensure Committee dealt with 12 cases this morning, 11 suspensions, and 1 public reprimand. And these 12 cases were ratified in the full Board Educator Licensure Committee.
Okay, thank you for that report, and we'll move right on to the full Board Educator Licensure Committee. We heard 3 cases this morning. 1 was an application, which was approved. 1 was for a suspension, and the 3rd was for a permanent revocation. So that was the 3 cases that we heard today. So all of the items that we've just discussed in these various reports are on the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. And the motion carries. Now we'll move on to the various reports, and we start with Dr. Mathis and the literacy update.
Thank you, Chairman Walters. Districts are required to administer interim assessments 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. And the approved assessment, interim assessments, you may hear us use all kind of mnemonics, but it's MAP produced by NWEA, STAR by Renaissance, and iReady by Curriculum Associates. Those are the 3 approved, state-approved interim assessments. Education Analytics is assisting South Carolina in analyzing our state interim data, which includes both current, this year's interim data, as well as historical data back to 2016. The latest interim data indicates the following. Between spring 2021 and fall 2021, there is evidence of learning recovery in both ELA and math. However, students still lag behind pre-COVID learning rates in ELA by 1.8 months and math by 2.1 months. And just as an editorial comment, coming into the years we ended last year, it was 3 to 4 months of a learning lag. So we're on the upward swing. This means that things are moving in the right direction, but we still have more work to do before students are what we call caught up. There is more learning lag as of fall 21 for students who are economically disadvantaged, those in our subgroups, or who had prior lower achievement prior to COVID. So they were behind prior to COVID. They haven't had the time to get caught up. We generally see more equity gaps in ELA than we do in math. In other words, though overall there is more learning lag in math than in ELA, there's larger gaps between the subgroups than in math. So in other words, all students are trending the same in math, but ELA it's a little bit more of a division between the subgroups. But here's an interesting fact that I think we can't forget. When analyzing the data, it is important to note the impact that quarantines and isolations had on our students this year. Total student staff isolated to date is over 21,000 staff had to be isolated this year. Students, a little over 121,000. Total staff quarantined, a little over 14,000. And total students quarantined since the start of the 21-22 school year is over 420,000. Now, isolation is required when an individual tests positive for COVID, and quarantine is when an unvaccinated individual is in close contact but has to be quarantined because they were close to someone that tested positive. Those disruptions really do impact the learning lag that we're experiencing. Districts need to analyze their data and compare their results to the state data. While reviewing data, districts should carefully and cautiously examine the impact of intervention strategies implemented to address the learning lag. As districts analyze data, a focus should be on evaluating the impact of Tier 1, that's Core 1 instruction that all students receive, as well as the interventions in place for students who are below grade level. Further, with the analysis of our interim data with spring 22 results coming in a few months, we will then be able to determine where recovery is the strongest and determine what strategies those districts and schools have been using so that we all can be informed by that. So Chairman Walters, that concludes my report. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Questions for Dr. Mathis?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Nancy Williams has our quarterly review of our budget. And I think everybody's got your handout.
Good afternoon,
at your
Mr.
desk.
Chair, other members of the board. I'm going to provide a very brief overview of your budget as of February 28th, 2022. It's not right at a quarter. As you may recall, this fiscal year, the General Assembly increased the budget for the State Board from $58,034 to $258,034, and that's reflected in that current budget column of the first page of this report. Remember, your budget is broken down into two components. So the first component is for state operations and now salary, and the second component relates to the portion that assists with the cost of teacher cases. So after we budget for salary and employer contributions related to those new positions appropriated this year, $76,034 remain. Of that amount, $32,000 relates to the teacher cases component, and $44,034 is what's available for operations like travel and web conferencing software and things of that nature. As of February 28th, 2022, the year-to-date actual expense column of the report shows that $42,869 has been expended, and again, that's primarily on travel-related costs. Over the past 2 years, and I know it's because of the pandemic, your operational expenditures have averaged about $1,600 a month, and the second and third page of the report would show the actual details of the expenditures. As Ms. Hazelwood said earlier, there are about $13,000 related to teacher cases that we have not transferred to the educational, to the educator complaint portion of your budget, but we will do so. We will continue to monitor your budget as we go throughout and make transfers as necessary. Mr. Chair, I'm available if there are any questions.
Any questions?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, Ms. Mack with our district reports.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Pleased to share with you some updates in Allendale, Florence 4, and Williamsburg. In Allendale County School District, on February 24th, Dr. Gilmore hosted a town hall meeting to present and answer questions about the proposed 2022-2023 modified calendar. An in-person community meeting was held on Monday, February 28th, and most of their meetings have been virtual, so this is a new great development for them. And Allendale County School District continues to hold vaccine clinics. In Florence School District 4, COVID testing is offered in the district on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Our 4th and 5th grade students collaborated with the middle and high school students to host a Black History Wax Museum for the district. And all of the Brockington Elementary students who made an A in math were treated to a dinner at our local restaurant by the math interventionists. In Williamsburg County School District, the Curriculum and Instruction Department is currently providing professional development to all teachers with a focus on collective responsibility and student engagement. And the Sumter Touchdown Club named a Kingstree High School student as Scholar Athlete of the Year, and 4 Kingstree players were named to the all-area team, with one of them being named Lineman of the Year. This concludes my report.
Questions for Ms. Mack?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have a new item on our agenda now. We have a legislative update. And so Kinsey Riddle is going to come up and present that. Welcome.
Welcome, Mr. Chairman and members. Thank you for having me. I look forward to getting to know more of y'all. I will also be brief. As you can see, I'm the last person on the agenda, so I know y'all are ready to go. And you will see me again. The legislature just started. I mean, we started in January, but no bills have really made it all the way through the process, so I just kind of wanted to give you a brief update of what Katie and I have been kind of tracking and some of the budget items that have gone through Ways and Means. So I'm going to start with the Ways and Means process. Budget week is actually next week, so nothing is final, so please don't harass your House members just quite yet. But we actually did very well. I'm just going to hit some of the main items. Instructional materials, Ways and Means put in $100 million in non-recurring dollars. Capital funding for disadvantaged schools, $150 million. Bus driver salary increase of 5%, $4.2 million. Virtual SC, $5 million with 20 new FTEs, so those would be your new teachers for virtual SC. Teacher supplies, $2 million. Currently, the teachers are getting $275. This bumps them up to $300. Bus lease purchase, $12 million. Grants committee, $12 million also. And one of the bigger topics is there will be no base student cost anymore. We have adopted, well, I say we, the governor and the Ways and Means proposed a new funding formula. I'm going to send you the packet that RFA did after this meeting. Nancy, Katie, and I, and Superintendent Spearman are still looking at it and trying to understand it. So I didn't want to go through the whole process with you when I don't fully understand it yet. So, but with the formula, Ways and Means put in $226 million. And what that does is it increases every teacher salary by $4,000. And the new teachers will get $40,000 as opposed to $36,000, which is their starting salary currently. So that's budget-wise. Legislation, Katie and I have been following, like I said, several bills. Some of the higher, more ones you will hear about is the Education Savings Account. There are 2 different bills, so the House has a bill and the Senate has a bill. And then obviously the critical race theory stuff, which is, they're having another meeting at 2:30. So we will keep you posted on those bills along with several other ones. So that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions for me.
Questions for Ms. Riddle?
And I totally understand if you don't have the answer, but I was just curious what that 5% increase for bus drivers would take them to.
Yes, ma'am, I do. Currently, they are getting $8.44. So this bumps them up to a whopping $8.86.
Yeah, most districts pay substantially more than that.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can speak
Yes.
for mine that we do.
Yeah, yeah, most districts pay up to about $15 an hour, so, but that's what the state covers, is that $8.86, so.
Yeah. Madam Superintendent?
Thank you, Kinsey, for the report. I just wanted to comment, we are very grateful for the funding that Ways and Means has given us, and almost everything we asked for, not quite, but the big ticket items for sure. We had requested 260 some odd million for a 2% teacher raise. The governor's office proposed, and Ways and Means went with funding it a bit differently to this 40,000 base pay plus a 4,000 for each sale of the salary schedule, which is in the new funding model, all of that changes. There's still a lot of questions. Their goal is to simplify the process, I think, and to equalize so that all of us understand the funding system. But I will tell you that there are a number of questions. This was reported to the superintendents last Thursday. It was the first time that we all had seen the actual numbers and more detail about how the formula works. There are a lot of questions. There. So we'll be working with the legislature, Nancy. We have a great expert that they rely on and hope that they rely even more, asking her questions about, how does this really play out? I think the biggest questions we heard from superintendents, a concern about, is there really enough there to give every teacher a $4,000 raise? And I know that's what the legislators want to do, but we're checking very closely to make sure that that is reality, because it can really that is the biggest percentage of a local budget is salary, as usual, so that puts a tremendous demand and burden if it's not funded adequately from the state. So just know that we're watching that. But I did want to tell you, I'm really thrilled about the materials for the $100 million for instructional materials, working on the bus lease, which we changed to a lease purchase program since in my tenure. I really appreciate their support there. The one thing that I'm really thrilled about is this funding for struggling districts, our rural districts, in their facility money. The legislature funded $100 million last year, and the House now has proposed $150 million for next year. We will be announcing very soon. We were to develop a formula on how that funding would be distributed to the neediest districts with the neediest facility programs, and we're getting closer. Hasn't been easy. Sounds like an awful lot of money. Construction costs are up, so it doesn't go very far. So we are really trying to get it to those areas that just absolutely do not have the tax space to build their own buildings. They could raise tax millage 100 mills or 300 mills and still not get enough money to build a building. So I believe that the state has a huge responsibility to go in and help. And the legislature is coming through on that. We're trying to be very prudent with the funding that they're giving us, but you should hear some announcements, I hope, in the next few weeks or month on how that original amount would be distributed. And then we're excited and hope that this amount goes through and maybe even grows, that we might get $200 million. That would be fantastic. So I just want to make those few comments. I'll be happy to answer any other questions you all might have.
Anybody have any questions? I'm sure we all have questions, especially
Yeah.
with the budget situation, but that's got to run its course right now, so
Yes,
we
sir.
understand that.
Thank you.
I think
Mr. Chair, if I may, on another topic, it's kind of a bittersweet day and week for all of us here at the department because we're happy for one of our deputies who's gotten an extraordinary opportunity to move to a new area. And I'm going to ask John Payne if he would just come up and stand with me for a minute. John came to the department over 15 years ago as an ed associate. I don't think he thought it was just for a couple months, I think, that he was going to be here. And he was extraordinary and has been in every role that he has had here at the department. Most of his work Most of his work has been in special education, serving our children and teachers in that area. A lot of creative things that he has helped to do in that side of our work. Then he became a director, and then the last few years has served as a deputy, and has, as we have evolved in our reorganization, he's always willing, and he's the type of person, you can tell him about a problem, and he's going to go out and think of a solution and get it done. And John is going to be moving to work with the South Carolina Public Charter District. Next week's his last week with us, but we are going to miss you so much, but so happy for the great opportunity, and I know y'all will join me in thanking John for his extraordinary work he's done here at the Department of Education.
Absolutely. Don't run off, John. You got the mic now. One more time. Well, certainly, on behalf of the board, we'd like to express our appreciation for all that you've done, and looking forward to your new opportunity. All right. Just briefly under other business, I wanted to let you know that there was a proposed amendment to Regulation 43-300. I think it was titled 5047. The department's going to withdraw that. And then the other thing I need to mention to you under other business is don't run away after we adjourn because you have to have your photograph made. So don't leave anything else out, Tracy. Your expense reports, don't leave without that either. She'll block the door and get those from you. And unless there's any other business, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.